Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Camera Tuesday. In today's episode we're going to take a closer look at Canon's new entry, Canon EOS Rebel SL3, or if you are in anywhere else it's 250D. So let's dive right into it. Now, if you are confused by this new announcement, do not think too much about it. It's basically a starter DSLR. Basically, this is supposed to be your first DSLR. When you directly want to go into high-end photography, you will be buying this as your starter kit. Now, it's cheap, relatively speaking, for a DSLR, as in $550 or upwards of 50,000 rupees in India. Now, before this, Canon had tried this architecture itself. Basically, they used to make SL2. This is SL3. So this is basically, if you want to understand it in the core terms, basically they took M50 and they removed the electronic viewfinder and replaced with a mirror and pentameter system. Nothing other than that. Basically mirrorless and DSLR. There is nothing other than this. It's just they took this and made it into a DSLR, every aspect of it. Now then the question becomes, how is the performance? Now you do not have to think too much about it. It's a basic camera, it's a starter camera, so the photography is basic. The light range, the dynamic range, they are basic. They are not the best in the class, they are also not the worst, but they are basically average. You don't have to think too much about it, you don't have to worry too much about it. It's just good enough. But be mindful when you're thinking about this sort of camera. As you can see, all the mode dials are very optimized. They are nowhere near as sophisticated as Canon 800D or Canon 80D. They are a very low end camera, so please do understand this whenever you are looking about it, whenever you're thinking about it. Do not think this is like, okay, high end APS-C DSLR. These are as low as Canon can make them while still making them a usable camera. It's a very basic camera. As you can see, like even the button on off and the mode dials, you don't have a lot of mode dials. However, they do come with a good touchscreen, which is a very good aspect about it. Then the question is, should you buy or not? At the end, this is why you clicked on this video. Now answer is you have to understand this. At this point in time, the reason why I don't recommend Canon to anyone is simply Canon has lagged behind, and they haven't lagged behind like, okay, we are trying to catch up. They have lagged behind, oh, we simply don't care. What else you gonna do? Like, you have already bought our lens, so you are trapped in the system. So that's why I don't recommend it. Like, for instance, let's say this is a starter camera. You can check my video about why you should never ever buy a cheap camera. This actually shows the problem here also, because it has no USB charging. As a first DSLR, the first reason many people make their DSLR into paperweight is simply because you have to realize you have to take things out of it. Basically, you have to take out the memory card to use it. You have to take out the battery to charge it. People want to minimize those steps. However, you can minimize the step of taking out the memory card simply because it has Wi-Fi and you can transfer wirelessly. So that's awesome. However, you still need to take out the battery to charge it in a battery cradle. Why? Like, that is a tangible limitation in current DSLR. Like, they shouldn't be there, but they are there. Because I told you, Canon is not trying even, like, at this point. Compared to SL2 versus SL3, if they had added this feature alone, they would have made this a very good top selling DSLR, but they haven't. On top of that, the 4K that is going on, that's basically deceptive marketing. Unless you are doing 4K in a fixed focus scenario, basically, let's say you are in a scenario like me where you have a very, what we call broad depth of field. Basically the f-stop is very high, as in like f6 or f12 or something of like that nature. Yeah, the autofocus is more than good enough because it's contrast based. The dual pixel autofocus has been blocked, so the 4K, it's practically useless. If you buy any good lens, because of the depth of field, it will simply miss focus, and many times the contrast detect have this issue that it randomly starts breathing, so you cannot count on it. So 4K is just a deceptive tactics. On top of that, they could have easily removed 30-minute recording limitation, because European Union have removed the tariff that used to be there for, because if you're not familiar with it, understand it this way. Video camera have a different taxing bracket compared to a photographic camera. The only defining factor between those two is a video camera can record more than 30 minutes. So every camera manufacturer is like, okay, 29 minutes into 59 seconds into 59 milliseconds. That's how every camera company is going around selling their DSLRs as a video camera. Because if they made it go higher, like let's say Panasonic case, they flat have to pay extra taxes. Panasonic did that, but recently that has been removed. That's why Sony A6400 no longer have a recording limit. They could have also done that. Like, I'm not asking anything magical or hoo-ha here. USB charging, no recording limit, because here's the deal, give people a product that they can enjoy. Like, why are you giving 30-minute recording out? They are saying like this is a very good camera for sport shooting and all that, and let's say you want to take a good video of your basically kids game. Which kid game only lasts 30 minutes? There are games that last longer, and nowadays you have memory cards that are very long, and like as in you can easily buy 128 GB 256 GB even cards, so you can record for very long. Memory is not an issue, and if you're not doing 4K, the file sizes are also small. So that 30-minute limitation is kind of. Now then question becomes, should you even consider buying it? Well, if you like Canon, because recently I had a very interesting talk with a Canon fan, and he said like you can't just say Canon is bad. I'm like, why? Because the product was bad. So I said like this was regarding a specific video, it was bad, so I said it bad. Like, but there are a lot of people who are invested in Canon name brand, because many of them might have first camera experience with Canon, and Canon used to be very good. Canon used to be the leading edge. Canon used to be the cutting edge. Basically Canon was the king of the mountain. At that point Nikon was the camera that was like falling behind. So then what happened? Basically Canon reached a point where the lens selection became good enough, and they were like, okay, we'll stop innovating, because like people nowadays, everybody says, oh, Canon should not focus on DSLR, basically DSLR video, because it's not for video. I mean, the sole reason Canon even got into this position was because of Canon 5D Mark II that allowed proper full HD full frame. That is what that pushed them ahead of Nikon back in the days. So the fact that they are now in a position where they can easily push ahead, because that 30-minute limit is arbitrary, that no USB charging, that's arbitrary. Now 4K dual pixel ops, yeah, it's also arbitrary, but they are doing it. Okay, I don't care too much about it, but those two things that really bug me. But if you are in a scenario where you like Canon DSLRs, or you already have lens selection of Canon EFS lenses, you can enjoy this. However, even in this, you also have to understand, because the Canon's latest and greatest are now coming in Canon R format, basically the lens format that are for mirrorless. So these won't work with your DSLR. So if you are buying this, basically you have to understand this. You are limited to Canon's past, not Canon's future, because Canon are releasing this lens. Roadmap of these lenses are already out. There are a lot of these lenses are very good, but let's say you want to buy one lens that is particularly interesting to me is 24 to 240 10x DSLR lens. You can't have this, it's not here. Or the quality of these lenses are tangibly better than this. Why? Of course, it was built afterwards, so more knowledge, more refined, more polished. So if you are buying an interchangeable lens camera, you have to have interchangeable lenses. So they have Canon has a very good range, but the range is past range. So at this point, should you buy this camera? Again, if you like Canon, go for it. And one thing I can close my eye and say Canon knows how to do it best is good interface. At this point in time, I can give Canon to any child, he will figure it out. If I give Sony to anyone, they'll be like, what the heck is this? And the frustrating part is that Sony can easily fix this. Sony can give you a touch screen, because their camera has touchscreen, but they disable it. Basically, you can't click the menus for some reason. In this is one thing that I can tangibly say is very good about this camera. Basically, if it is your starter camera, it is very likely that you're gonna use it simply because it's so easy to use. However, the frustrating part would be that you cannot grow with the system, because lens selections are inherently outdated. Be the new cutting edge, lightweight, more optically clear lenses, they won't fit in your system. And not to mention, if you want lightweight and portable lenses for let's say you don't want latest and greatest image quality like these lenses, but you want small and compact, those small and compact lenses will be made Canon M series, and is as in Canon M50 series. So 3 lens architecture you have to figure out. So at this point, should you buy this? Again, you like Canon, go for it. Nobody can dissuade you from it, and you will get very good interface. So that will be the one saving grace that you will have no matter what. But other than that, they can have easily removed that 30-minute limit. They could have easily given USB charging, 4K dual pixel. Again, I know Canon will never release it because Canon has to cripple their equipment. Now, is there an alternate? Yes, I flat out said like, please do not buy cheap camera, they become paperweight very quickly. So A6400 is the best option as of now, best all around as a starter camera. Yes, it is more expensive, this almost like $300 more, but you will get so much more. Photo quality is undeniably better, the dynamic range is undeniably better, and on top of that, the burst mode is also better, because these can only go up to 5 frames per second, which is not that much for a kid sports game. So at this point, should you buy this? Up to you. If Canon name does not mean anything to you, please stay away from this. But if you have to have Canon, go with this. But be aware of that next generation of lenses won't be compatible with you. So please be aware of that. So this was my presentation on Canon 250D. I hope you liked it, learned from it. In that case, please leave a like. If you didn't like it, don't worry about it, you can dislike it. I would urge you to press the dislike button twice, and I would urge you to leave a comment because I reply to all of them. Please click the ad shown in this video, that will directly help me, and subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.